Okay, so for the first time, I watched The Big Bag Fox and Other Stories, which is a 2017 animated film, which is originally a French film, but me being me, obviously I watched the English dubbed version. I say dubbed because the English version, excuse me, came out at the same time or around about the same time as the French version. So they always had the English version in mind at the same time. But um, the reason that is because there's a couple of instances in this film where you can tell that the lip syncing isn't quite perfect. It's kind of like if you've seen the only example I can think of off the top of my head actually is Sonic Boom. If you've seen that, then you know that the lip syncing there is just like it's normally on Kicks, like it's not as bad as if like you were watching I don't know something like a Japanese anime, I guess. I don't know, I'm not being the expert on that, but apparently the lip syncing in them isn't as good because Japanese tend to talk more quickly than us Westerners talk. So it's not really that. But yeah, but the only reason I actually saw this film is because it was distributed, at least in the UK, by Studio Canal, who distribute all of the Aardman films here in the UK. So basically, anything Aardman, they distribute that. They also distributed the Paddington films, and obviously they distributed this in the UK. And you can tell by the styling. What's odd about this film is that it is a 2D animated film, and it's also in the stylings of the book that it is based on. So this film is based on the book of the same name, The Big Bag Fox and Other Stories. And essentially, this is basically an anthology film. I'm assuming the book was as well, where essentially it is three separate stories that all are linked because they all basically take place on this farm, and basically some characters that are in one story will also pop up in another. So that is it. And to be honest, first thing I'll say, the animation for this is excellent. The animation is absolutely excellent for this, and which is really surprising that the fact that this only had roughly a $3 million budget. Yeah, and to put that into perspective, that is normally less than the direct to Scooby Doo film. So basically, I think Zombie Island, Return to Zombie Island, if I remember rightly, cost I think nearly more. I think might have cost more than this actually. But yeah, this is a very low budget. But to be honest, when watching it, you couldn't tell. It kind of, to be honest, it kind of reminds me of the sort of TV BBC TV specials like the Gruffalo and the Gruffalo's Child, although done more in the style. Say, if you saw last year's The Tiger Who Came to Tea um, special that came out in December last year, then it's more similar to that. But yeah, I watched the English version, which has British voice actors, and it even though it is French, the fact that the British actors do a very typical um, English accent, a very a very very English accent that most people in real life don't actually speak like that, but they do in this, which kind of gives it a timeless feel. But I just realised I haven't talked about the film itself at all yet, so I'll talk about that. And the way the film is done is actually quite ingenious. The fact is that these animals and that are putting on a stage play. Yeah, they're putting on a stage play with the fox, and that's all he's ever given the name of, was the Fox. That's he's basically just essentially just setting up each of the three segments of this. So actually, basically, it's a bit weird, to be honest. It is a bit weird that it's done like that, but it is quite enjoyable. The first segment, I would say, is the weakest, to be honest. The first segment is basically of a pig who is a gardener, and he has, unfortunately, two annoying neighbours, the duck and the rabbit, who are basically idiots. Like, they are scavengers just being idiots, and they're completely incompetent. And one day when he's gardening, a stork falls out of the sky with a baby, and pretends that he's broken his wing and can't deliver the baby. So the pig, the rabbit, and the duck have to go and deliver the baby, and hijinks ensue. And that's basically, your story for about 20-25 minutes-ish. Yeah, and to be honest, they do work as a short, actually, because there's something like that won't work as a feature length, but it works as a short. And some of the stuff that happens initially is just like, oh, okay, this is kind of like standard, but spoiler alert, it ends up with them basically being thrown out of a plane. But the way they just go about it is just very calm, but very casual, to be honest, apart from the pig, who's basically your voice of reason in it. And I do still like the first segment. It's just, I think it's just the least enjoyable out of the three. Mainly because you kind of heard this story before. And to be honest, I do like the pig, but the duck and the rabbit, I do quite find a bit irritating when you've got two idiots, generally. Because the duck and the rabbit are essentially just the same character. Like, every other character in this has a distinguishable character trait, basically. You can tell them apart. However, the rabbit and the duck, they are literally the same character. They are written the same. Their dialogue is exactly the same. So, yeah, to be honest, I think if it was either just one of them, or one of them was kind of like halfway between, But unfortunately, both of them are just complete fucking idiots, which can be a little bit irritating at times. Thankfully, though, since it is so short, it doesn't overstay its welcome. And characters who appear in this one, the wolf makes a brief cameo and is established. The wolf is essentially the villain of this piece briefly. He only does once briefly appear, but he's a very sly. He is a very sly wolf, and he just briefly appears, and so goes the dog. The dog briefly appears in that, and basically the dog and the wolf will be much more relevant in the following segment, which again takes place on the farm, which is what the book is named after, which is the Very Bad Ag Fox. So this is the best segment, the second segment about the Very Bad Fox, the Bad Fox. I've forgotten the name off the top of my head now. That to me is the best segment. That to me is easily the best segment out of all three. So I can see why the book was based on that. So it tells a story about our fox friend here, who, by the way, despite being the main character and the character who introduces the segments, like, he introduces each of these segments. This is actually the only segment out of the three that he actually appears at all in. He doesn't even cameo in the other two. This is which I do find a bit odd, especially considering the next time, but I'll talk about this. So essentially, he is a hungry fox, and he wants to steal the chickens and eat them. Unfortunately, the only problem is that he is not a scary fox, and the chickens basically, just literally just kick him out. And the pig, who again appears very briefly in this, is seen giving him radishes, and basically that is, was it? No, he gives them turnips. Sorry, I thought they look like radishes, but they're turnips. He gives them turnips to eat, which, isn't very nice for a fox to eat. I'm not sure foxes can actually eat turnips. Someone will have to tell me in the comments below. If I'm mumbling a bit, just look at the clock in the corner on my tablet. So yeah, I'm kind of only semi-awake here, but I'm doing this now, otherwise I'll forget by morning completely. But yeah, essentially, he is working with the wolf, and the wolf essentially is getting him to do this so, the both of them can eat. They're apparently friends, although it's clear that the wolf is very dominant, and it seems, basically, you get the feeling that the only reason why the wolf is working with the fox and trying to, get the fox to be more scary is so that the wolf can get it, because the wolf, he says, if he tried going towards the farm, then the farmer would just shoot at him. But for some reason, the fox, they don't bother shooting at the fox, and the fox is able to get in. But yeah, this fox is not scary in the slightest, and is clearly not, he's not really a cow, but he's just not a scary fox, and he's a bit weak and not able to get the job done. So the wolf suggests that he steals the chicken's eggs, which he does, and the wolf says, right, you've got to sit on the eggs, wait till the eggs hatch, and then wait until they hatch, and then come back to me. And then when that does happen, the chicks hatch, and since the fox is the first thing these chicks see, the three of them think this fox is its mother. And you can basically imagine, issues into ill and hijinks kind of thing. Kind of, but not really. Actually, this one's a lot more dialogue focused. This one's a lot more emotional than the other two. This one's basically more of an emotional journey, rather than more of either a slapstick journey or a physical journey. This one is an emotional journey. And the wolf basically says, don't eat them now, raise them, wait until they will feed them, make them grow all fat and plump, and then we'll eat them. And then the wolf goes off to let the fox just deal with it on his own. And obviously, spoiler again, you can tell where this is going to go. I mean, they're very simple children's stories of how the fox becomes attached to it and the wolf wants to eat them, but no. And something interesting that happens is the dog, who again appears in this one properly, is established as being basically a lazy bastard who literally just cannot be arsed, and the chickens decide that they're going to defend themselves, and the chickens actually beat the shit out of the wolf. Yeah. The chickens beat the shit out of the wolf, which was quite fascinating. But the way it ends, and this is a little bit interesting, again, spoiler, the way this ends, the mother chicken, gets reunited with her chicks. And, she essentially just tells the fox, fuck off, never come back, never come near my children again. But obviously the chicks have grown attached to the fox as well. Have grown attached to the fox, and they don't want the fox to go. So an ultimatum is done, and the thing is, you think it's an ultimatum where, oh yeah, you can live on the farm with us. There's a bit more conditions than that, actually. The fox is actually a living crash test dummy, essentially. Basically, in order to give the chickens practice on how to basically beat the living shit out of a fox, they are allowed to actually beat the living shit out of this fox, and also test out their catapults using the fox as well. And the fox also gives advice on how to restrain a fox and how and where to hurt a fox most. And I can't remember if it's the dog or the chicken who says. I think it's the chicken who says that. Just like the fact that he does all this for love of those chicks, because basically, if he does that, then he gets to spend a bit of time at the end of each day with the 3 chicks that he raised. Which, I mean, it's kind of horrible that he has to go through literally having the shit beaten out of him every day, but he seems content and happy with it. So, yay, happy ending. I mean, to be honest, that ending isn't, it's not exactly, to be honest, that ending isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's the ending where he gets to still spend time with the chicks, and the chicks still call him Mummy. But they also call the chicken Mummy as well. So they're both called Mummy. Even though the fox, I should establish, is male as well, but he's a mummy. But yeah, he does. And then the third segment is a Christmas theme segment, which is really weird because the first 2 segments take place in presumably summer by the looks of things. But in the third segment, we suddenly jump till Christmas. Which is weird because the chicks in the second segment seem to grow up into chicks in just a few days. It's not said exactly how much time, but it seems like that. But yet they're still chicks in the third segment as well, the same size. But yeah, it's a bit weird. It's a Christmas one, and this one, we do have a cameo from the chicks. The chicks do essentially cameos along with the mother hen, briefly at the start and at the end. I mean, they basically just to say hooray, it's Christmas kind of thing. But this segment, to be honest, is more of a sequel to the first segment. And the reason for that is because we go back to the focus of the pig, the rabbit, and the duck. So they are once again the main trio for the third segment. So to be honest, it's kind of a bit of false advertisement, really, because the fox kind of gets top billing, yet out of all the characters, he's only in one segment. He doesn't even cameo in any of the other segments. In fact, I'm very surprised he's not in the third segment, considering it's on the farm, it's at Christmas time, then surely, the mother's preparing her chicks for Christmas. Surely the fox will be doing the same with those chicks. Just playing with them or hyping them up for Christmas. But no, he is nowhere to be seen. Although then again, do foxes? I don't know if foxes hibernate or not. I don't know much about foxes, to be honest. I know they're like chickens, and I know they make really weird noises when they're fucking. That's about it. But still a fox in there, which is him. Although there is actually a plushie of the fox in this segment that the 3 chicks are seen to be cuddling. So yeah, who knows what happened to the fox. But this segment is basically showing how stupid these 2 fucking characters are again. The chicken, no, not the chicken, the duck and the rabbit. Because they accidentally destroy a Santa decoration and they think it's the real Santa. And it's about them trying to save Christmas and deliver presents to all the children. And this involves them getting somehow, taken by a dog catcher and put in a dog cage. I don't know how, because they look literally that one of the duck is dressed as Santa, but the pig and the rabbit are just naked as usual. So I don't know why the dog catcher did that, and why they put it in with the dog. And the dogs obviously want to eat these animals, which I find a bit odd that dogs want it. I can understand if they put it in a cage with the wolf. It makes sense. But dogs? No. I mean, my dog has actually, because my neighbour actually has chickens, and a couple of times, unfortunately, I remember there was a gap in the fence because one of the fence poles had come down in the wind one day, and the neighbour's chickens got in, and my dog got in the garden. And to be honest, my dog didn't harm the chickens, he just chased them. But they were chickens. But dogs, I don't think a dog would, to be honest, go after a pig to eat it, or even a duck, or maybe a rabbit. But dogs, not really. Dogs generally just chase animals. Not generally tend to just eat them because they're domesticated. But whatever, it's a nitpick, and not all dogs are the same. Obviously, these ones are that are street dogs, so yeah, I guess. But yeah, they're about them until the puppy of this dog says, no, they're Santa's helpers and they're gonna save Christmas, so the dogs reluctantly, there we go, help the duck, the rabbit, and the pig to save Christmas. Hooray. And this is where it gets a little bit odd, that they meet the actual Santa, you can see here, who is about the size of a pig, and they just get dropped off, and it's just like a really weird segment. It's kind of weird that the third story is a Christmas segment, because it just doesn't, it feels the one that is the most out of place. I don't know. Because the weird thing about this is, I don't know, it kind of feels like an odd one out. It kind of feels like it's just something else. Although then again, you could see the same about the bagged fox segment. Mainly because that one kind of just feels out of place in the two, because at least with the first and the last one, the main characters are the main characters in both. So yeah, I don't know. I did enjoy all three, but the Big Bag Fox. There we go, Big Bag Fox segment was the best by a considerable amount. I think just because I don't know. With the others, it's just with the first one, it is just a journey. Generally, it is just a journey. With the second one, it's more of an emotional journey, and with the third, it's mostly just a physical journey, but there is a bit of emotion to it. I mean, there's a little tiny bit of emotion to the first one, but not really much at all. The pig shows a bit of loving towards the baby that they're trying to get to its parents. But the third segment, I think, does it better. I think that's a thing. It just depends kind of what you like. But then again, this has a bit for everyone, to be honest, and it is just a nice little short thing. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if they did a sequel to this. I mean, there's only one book as far as I'm aware. Again, I could be wrong about this. I don't know. I'm sorry, comment section. But then again, this is just initial thoughts after watching, not a full review, okay? Even though I've probably gone on for fucking ages. But to be honest, I do really like this. And again, the budget for this was minuscule. Now, I was going to buy this on Blu-ray. Unfortunately, I don't think they've ever released it on Blu-ray in the UK. At least not from what I've been able to find. I have seen a French Blu-ray of it. Though I'm just wondering, does it have the English soundtrack? Maybe? Probably? I don't know. I don't know. If I do find a UK Blu-ray of it, I'll probably get it. Unless it's ridiculously expensive, then otherwise, maybe not. But yeah, it's something I do highly recommend that you just go and watch. But it's kind of weird because for the first two segments, it's essentially, a kind of summer sort of time film. Maybe spring, summertime. Yeah, the final segment is a winter one at Christmas. It's a little bit weird. But yeah, to be honest, I'm never obviously had heard this film until looking up Studio Canal's film. So yeah, this one is surprisingly good. But the thing that I think it has the most is charm. This is a very charming film. If you like those, simple children's books and children's stories, this is essentially it. If you grew up with simple, those children's stories from back in the day, like I said, like the Gruffalo or the Tiger Who Came to Tea and stories along those lines. Just nice, short, simple stories. Well, in this film, you get three of them. And I do like the way that they do have a sort of linking thing of them being a theatre production. So, yay for that. So, yeah, overall, recommend it that you're going to see. I mean, well, I say go and see. Either rent it, or if it's on any streaming services, watch it on there. Or buy the DVD is very cheap. So you could just buy the DVD. But yeah, overall, that's it for this Thoughts on Watching. And I'll see you sometime when stuff happens. Bye bye.